where do you feel like you get the most satisfaction from? On the stage or off the stage?
I've performed on the stage. I have hosted shows on the stage. Although deep down inside, I'm a creative. So give me the stage, give me my band, give me my music, and I'm lost in Lagos.
This episode is proudly supported by Orca.
And the episode would not be possible without your support. So kindly like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Lost in Lagos podcast.
Thank you.
At some point, Lagos stopped being a city where things happened and became the thing that was happening. This conversation is about the people who built that moment and what it costs to actually keep it.
There's a version of this story that starts and ends with Dirty December. The packed arenas, the diaspora flights, the feeling for a few weeks every year that Lagos is the center of the world. But that version leaves out everything that made it possible. The infrastructure, the sleepless logistics, the creative decisions nobody sees, and the years of building before any of it looked inevitable.
In this conversation, we move beyond the vibes and into the machinery. What does it actually take to build a world-class entertainment ecosystem in Africa? Is Lagos really ready to be a global cultural hub, or are we still performing readiness?
You know how some people have a day job and then a passion project? Our next guest looked at that arrangement and said, bingo, and then went ahead and built an entire creative empire. The man has more verticals than a skyscraper.
Our guest today, Darey Art Alade, is the son of jazz legend Art Alade, which means culture is literally in his bloodline. And he's been spending his whole career making sure that energy doesn't just stay in the family. He brought Cardi B to Nigeria. Over 60,000 people actually showed up in Lagos. And if you know what that means for Lagos traffic, you know that people left their houses 2 days before.
From hit records to boardrooms, and now as the founder of LiveSpot 360 and Entertainment Week Africa, he's been quietly engineering how entertainment in Africa scales, not just creatively, but economically. Basically, if Lagos is a vibe, he's part of the infrastructure behind the vibe. Welcome, Darey.
Drum roll!
Oh, that is the entertainer in you. Now let's
following your intro.
Yeah. No, I mean you need very little intro. I think a lot of people already know you,
Right.
but maybe they don't know the behind the scenes.
No, they don't know.
Yeah,
a lot of the glamour they see.
Exactly.
And they don't even want to know. It's not pretty stuff
No,
at
but
all.
actually, I think that is such an important part of the whole entertainment infrastructure.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't, that glamour wouldn't be possible without
the
people
grind,
building the stages,
of course.
and
And
that's what
where
you're
the
literally doing.
That's where the real work is. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, when was the moment that you realized that you needed to be part of the behind the curtains as well as being on the stage,
on in front of the camera
Exactly.
as well, right? I mean, first, thank you for the opportunity. You guys are doing a great job helping to curate, helping to tell the stories and shed light on hitherto never seen or never heard before experiences and whatnot.
Thank you.
First off, shout out to Mrs. D. That's co-founder.
Your other half.
When you say
Yes.
founder, I didn't do this alone.
Absolutely,
We did this
yes.
together. We still do this together across LiveSpot, the work we do at LiveSpot 360, and of course Entertainment Week Africa and everything else. So I wanted to,
Good for you. I love that because behind every man,
Absolutely.
what
Well,
you're saying is.
I'm not sure about behind, but we're
She's
right
very
side
much
by
side
side,
by
and
side,
and
exactly.
sometimes I'm behind. Yeah. Let her face because we've merged best of both worlds really. She handles the business, I handle more of the creative, and we realized that combination is really what makes that difference. But to your question, when did that transition happen? I don't even know. In front of the camera was obviously as an artist, making music, making videos, putting yourself out there is where I'm coming from, as a recording artist, performing artist. And then at some point my wife was my manager.
No way.
She used to take bookings. She opened
wow.
She opened up my
She's been there from
social
the
media.
beginning.
Yeah, she opened up my social media accounts, my Facebook, my Twitter, and stuff like that. So I think the turning point really was, as an artist, I hadn't been out for a while in terms of doing a live show. So something that connects my fans to me, that's sort of experiential, and we conjured up, ideas, and that's what gave birth to Love Like a Movie, right? Where it was my, actually, not Love Like Me, what am I saying? My album launch.
Okay.
At the time, was at Eco Hotel, before Eco Hotel became, before the convention center.
How far back are
existed.
we talking about?
Was this 09? 06?
Okay.
09,
Like 17 years ago.
Yeah, and the experience of bringing people together, all the elements together, was one of our first forays into creating something that people can attend, right? So, the artists, the collaborators on the album, came through. I had my mom there, I had fans there, it was, and that gave birth to, I guess, what we have today, where artists have that responsibility and that need to do a show, when they're launching an album, or and I guess I was one of the first, to do that sort of on that scale. So that paled in comparison to Love Like a Movie, which was the actual birth of, I think that's what redefined the ecosystem, really, the showmanship, the everything. And the challenges that we had before Love Like a Movie was done was so much so that we dreamt it. We conjured up the idea. How can we do something different? This, that, blah, blah, blah. And you haven't done stuff like you did at Eco Hotel in a long time, right? From the album launch and whatnot. So what can we do that? And then the idea was born, and then the challenge didn't go away. Like, okay, so we've created this nice, okay, it sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
How are we going to achieve this? Where we, so we start looking at where we're going to get this, who's going to handle that, blah, blah, blah. It was Herculean. It was almost impossible. We ended up doing all of that ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things we wanted to create and wanted to achieve
Wasn't here.
had never been done before. Infrastructure didn't exist. The little that did exist, of course, we would use it, but it wouldn't be sufficient. If we wanted to do, push the envelope and raise the bar and set another bar, and do something really incredible. So that happened. We did everything from fasting and breaking fast with prayer in the evening, towards the project, right? And this is team members from all over the globe.
Wow.
This is sync your calendar, sync your time, because prayer was, I'd say, was a key factor in helping us, just because we went through it. You
needed something to keep you strong.
We went through the ringer. We went, and if it's money, we spent it. Plus the one we had, plus the one we didn't have.
Wow.
We poured it into it because there was passion and because we believed in ourselves. We took a bet on ourselves.
And honesty was evident. I was there
I mean,
for the show. It was incredible.
So it's in testimonials like that you, and that's what gave birth to Live Sport. As a matter of fact, that it was the then marketing director of Nigerian breweries, who we still work with the brand till date, who attended just by chance, like you did, and like a lot of people did, and he was like, the experience that I had from arrival, the security, the accreditation, the red carpet, the show, the time we started on time, we ended on time, together, everything. He was gobsmacked, he was shocked, amazed, he couldn't, the adjectives wouldn't stop, right? And he was like, you know what, why don't you, we've got Heineken, we've got this brand, that brand, why don't you, do you think you can come up with, why don't we try, and he was eager, to work with us. Like, and that's what started our experiential marketing journey.
Interesting.
To provide solutions and experiences and different things for different clients. And fast forward to today, that's the beginning of the story.
I know you don't want to be here, but
No kidding, Tanaz.
I really believe this is important. Training our mental and physical health. And we really need this.
Even if we sit at the podcast every day.
What's that?
Nothing, Tanaz.
Oh, okay. Oh, Elvis, I need help. I need help, Elvis. Oh, that's not helping, Elvis.
Sorry, ma'am, you can't be gymming here.
Why not?
This is Okamo showroom. It's not allowed to gym here.
Look at all the equipment here.
Yes, you can get the equipment to your house and gym anytime you want.
Elvis, let's grab some weights and finish this at the office.
Okay.
No, the 10 kg.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. And where do you feel like you get the most satisfaction from? On the stage or off the stage?
Man, I've been in front and behind the camera, haven't I? I've performed on the stage. I have hosted shows on the stage with talents that were in positions that I was in.
Okay.
So I'm giving you like different layers now. So I've been in
phases,
front
right.
either as a contestant or as an artist. I've been on the stage. I've hosted shows that have kids that that were like me, hoping to live
Pursue
their
the
dream
career.
and just become superstars. And then I've crossed over to the third layer where I've judged them.
Oh, wow.
I've coached them. I've gone from I've gone from talent, contestant, I've gone to recording artist, I've gone to host on a show, I've gone to coach or judge on the show, and then I've gone to producing, creating shows like that and much more. So I guess, the point is, it's hard.
Well, the entire journey is essential, huh?
It is, because it's like best of, what do I prefer in this and that, but it's hard to say that what do I, which of them, although deep down inside I'm a creative. So give me the stage, give me my band, give me my music, and I'm lost in Lagos.
I like that.
So I was actually going to ask that question, but I like how you phrased it. I was going to ask if the artist in you misses that experience, or maybe jealous sometimes of the
always.
executive.
Always.
Because imagine this ecosystem, like you've built the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever, or did you ever wish that, somebody did this work and invited me? Because in the December Fest, we see people coming, like falling from the ceiling and all of this wonderful experience, like
from the sky.
Literally.
So, like, do you ever, like, the artist in you, does he ever, I don't know, is he ever jealous of the executive,
I don't
I
think
mean, you did
so.
perform on the stage too at that
I did that,
Fest.
briefly. Had to do one or two things. So inevitably, I get sucked in one way or the other, So, but being an executive or making some of these things happen also has its own. It's tasking, it's tough, but it's also enjoyable because you end up seeing, the things that you toil and sweat and work with a team and different people. Over time, you see those things materialize and come to fruition. So there's satisfaction in that. The grind, not so much. The wala in behind the scenes and the stress can be really can take a toll. But I think the joy is at the end of the day, whether it's from testimonials from people who have attended to your clients saying, you know what, we met our KPIs, this was everything and more that we dreamt of, and just going from deck, from pitching ideas, from everything being in a PDF document to exactly what you've drawn, and you sketched and envisaged. It's
satisfying
every time, regardless of what you go through to get to that end point. So I think that's the same kind of approach that we take with infrastructure, and you see what the challenge is, you kind of figure out what the problem is, and how do we figure this out, and then you just start,
do it.
So I think my perspective on the scale at which your live sports is and Ewa is
either Ewa, like how you Ewa is being better.
I think it's a superpower because businesses or companies that try to do this, they have like different parts, it's layered. But like you rightly said, you are in like almost in the end to end. So I guess my question would be, what's the philosophy for you personally that sort of holds all of this together? And how would you know that, this is too much, I'm stretching myself too far in this?
Well, great question. It's sum of all parts, isn't it? You know, like you said, end to end, everything we do is 360 from ideation to execution and everything else in between. It's a lot of work. It's plenty. Like, if you break down all the elements that that every execution or activation or one thing or the other requires, we'll be here all day, going line item, one by one. But it's something that I enjoy. I think it's still that passion. So whether it's as a creative, whether it's as an executive, it's still within as long as it's the creative ecosystem. Anything. If you try and stretch us into a realm that we're not, that's not, we know what we know how to do. And because we're in the system,
like you've lived it too.
We've lived it. We know know where the shoe hurts. Do you understand? We are part of the shoe. You know what I mean? Like, we've been there, we've done that. Everything we've achieved, all the successes, haven't come without the pain. The pain still stays. It looks really glossy, but we have some fundamental, challenges and problems. But will we say because of that we're going to stop what we're doing? We can. So the passion just keeps us pushing.
But speaking of those fundamental problems, looking at Dirty December, it's a huge period in the Lagos calendar, in the Nigerian calendar, because Abuja does enjoy quite a bit of that too. Although Lagos becomes the highlight, I think. The hub. Do you think we're underestimating or overestimating the potential of Dirty December? Because sometimes people talk about it in these crazy numbers, and you think, is that real? And then if you think about it and you say, okay, if those numbers are really real, are we just scratching the surface, or have we hit the limit of what those numbers could look like?
I think we're underestimating, and I also think that we are. What's the word that I'm looking for now? We're not taking it. I guess we've got to start from somewhere, which is where we are now, right? But the potential is incredible. Look at what year of return was, for Ghana. Look at what the United States has used media, in Hollywood to do over the decades and the centuries. Really,
it didn't stop, right?
No, it's got to be intentional. It's got to be patient. You have to be ready to build year on year on year. You've got to have a master plan. You've got to have a vision. You've got to have so many things. And then all these, pieces now fit into that big plan. So that's why I said it's underestimated. It's still something that's
Are we
simmering.
Intentional?
That's where we need to, we've got to transform, and bring that mentality, even as a nation. Forget the creative ecosystem. I think even as a nation, do we have that singular objective? And that singular objective could be a 10-point agenda, but that all of us can key into and be like, yes, we all, you, me, we're all aligned. We're all. That's missing.
Exactly.
That's missing across board. Imagine we had that, but let's leave the national policy alone and face the creative ecosystem. Looking at Dirty December, imagine that we had and we thought we did as last year, 2025. That's what the government's positioning and posturing is looking like. That okay, we want to make this thing something,
an engine, a system.
But before you can do that, it's easy to say it, but
where's the foundation?
Where's the real, granular, the grind? Well, you can say it. You can open the mic and turn on the lights and put the camera on and, declare whatever you want. But we're the ones that are on the ground. We're the ones still suffering. We're the ones that know where the shoe hurts. So we know that infrastructure is still a big problem. We know that cohesive, plan is still missing. How can we scale, use Lagos as the the example and then scale it locally, you know,
To other
states, other
states.
cities, you know, and build momentum from them. And then this is something that Nigeria should be known for. We are known for it, but what does it mean? What does it mean also for the bottom line, the value
exactly.
chain? What does it mean for the regular guy who's carrying the camera, you know, hopping from one show to
Yeah,
the other, creating?
yeah.
What does it mean for the content creators? What does it mean for the entire ecosystem? So that's really where we're trying to crack our heads and make sure that it means something, not just a label.
Yeah, because a lot of it now is still being done by you yourself.
Yeah.
For example, you know, you have, thankfully, you have the whole system in place for your own projects, but not everyone has that, which allows you to create that experience that is pretty one of a kind and is really takes an entire year, I'm assuming, and maybe longer.
Some things you have to plot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've already started.
Already.
Work since,
Already,
like the day after
whether it's the
Dirty
acts,
December Fest,
immediately
yeah.
you have to.
But you don't just do Dirty December Fest, you also do Entertainment Week Africa, which
Entertainment Week
means-
Africa, which is in
which
November.
is right before.
Right before, yes.
Dirty December. How do you do it?
And you still have all the other,
all the other stuff.
you know, regular work,
Yeah.
the 9 to 5. You
Yeah.
know,
How do you do
creative
it?
work.
How do you
It's
do all of
teamwork.
this?
It's teamwork. It's having multiple teams within the establishment that can take care of the different needs and services that we offer, you know, clients. And still remember that, guys, we still have
You
our
have your own
own
stuff, yeah.
things that we have to do. So whether it's Entertainment Week, whether it's 30 December Fest, whether it's Live Sport X Festival, whether it's, you know, all the, you know, Real Housewives of Lagos that we, you know, that we produce, whether it's we're going into our first film, our first feature
Wow,
film this year. So
congrats.
there's always one
Nice.
project or the
Something.
other. Yeah.
Nice.
You don't get bored.
No.
You don't have
no,
time.
you.
You don't have time.
Well, you have to keep. Yeah. There's not enough
That's great.
hours. Yeah.
But looking at the Dirty December, going back to that, is there a focus on just targeting diaspora, or are we looking at kind of building, like you said, that ecosystem within that really needs the locals to participate?
It's both. It's both at the same time. It has to be simultaneous. The Dirty December culture is already. You talked about the numbers, so you already see what it's doing for the hospitality industry. You see what it's doing for the logistics industry. You see what it's doing for the banking industry. The banks were falling over their heads, you know, trying to do one activation or the other over December,
Yeah,
last
I
year.
know.
Now all of a sudden everybody's waking up. But this is something that people have, you know, some of us have been toiling and, you know, trying to structure for the last, since 2019, you know, thereabouts. So it's interesting that this is where we are now. Yes, everybody's keying in. You can see the trickle, you know, the Airbnbs, you know, the hotels,
But what
everything.
happens after Dirty December when all the diaspora leave?
So that's what we first. How can we? Unfortunately, you had the milking problem last December, where everybody was taking advantage of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately. So how can we put a peg? You know, yeah, you can. It's a free market, you know, but there needs to be some sort of policy or some protection to not exploit everybody. You know, things shouldn't be extraordinarily times 500%
exactly.
higher just because it's December. It doesn't make sense. Yes, you can make your profit, you can make some, but and that's why those places will remain empty after the season, because they're not really thinking of what else is to come. But if we're able to first use December as the example, make it make sense for everybody, and everyone's coming in and the whole ecosystem is bubbling, and but we now have to try and replicate a few other, not Dirty December, but you know, a few other. Let's take advantage of almost every holiday that we have and create things around them, so that it's not just about December. Easter in Lagos should be you know, fantastic. Salah in Lagos should be incredible.
Right.
You know, use those seasons
So many holidays,
and we have
Yeah.
my sister, we have too many holidays, you know, so why can't we use that to create all sorts of experiences? There's concerts, there's theater, there's musical theater. Even theater alone has like 10 different genres, right? There's music concerts, there's spoken word, there's culture in there's fashion, there's film, there's just so many things that you can create festivals of, that people can gather, gatherings. More, you need crowds. If you're trying to break even with anything, you need crowds.
Yeah.
That's the only
Obviously,
way you can make your money back. But how many venues are there that can take the kind of people, the number of people that you
It's a
can
big
use
question.
to make your money back? And that's why if it's a small or mid-sized venue, based on how much you're charging, how many shows can you do? If you can't do more than one show, you can't make money back, because you don't have a big venue that you can just do 5,000 people at once and be like, okay, I'm good. You have to do multiple shows. Can you afford to pay the talents multiple times, to create? So those are the things that we've got to really crack. But you can have contracts with people, performers, for longer periods of time, and you can put them to work multiple times, not just one-offs. And that's how prices can, for example, maybe, reduce in some cases.
So I think it's interesting that you pointed that out, and I want to share
A personal story.
a very contrarian, I guess, opinion.
Opinion.
Don't you think the idea of curating these events around holidays would
Yeah.
reinforce? So right now, there's an observation that I have. People say that December is not for us, most Lagosians. In fact, people are pissed. I've seen like,
Why? I've never
and I
heard
will
that.
share. Some Lagosians are pissed that, it feels like we are creating for the diaspora. And cue to our question,
Oh, because
they come in,
yeah.
there's this seasonal migration, like the daily lives of like regular Lagosians,
Yeah.
regular Nigerians sort of like affected. They can't even carry out. So sometimes when it's time for these holidays, these events, I'm going back in because I don't feel like it's for me.
Yeah.
So, and if we are, I don't know, like curating around these holidays, like Easter, when they're coming back in,
Yeah.
it sort of reinforces that idea that, they just want to target, there's an opportunity here. So how do we, and I guess I'm also re-asking the question, but with this context, how do we ensure that, or how do you ensure that, like across Entertainment Week Africa and the work you're doing with the December Fest, that we're letting Nigerians know that despite its how do you say that? My
Coinciding.
my ancestors have gotten
Yeah.
my tongue. Yeah, with the seasonal calendar, like let them know that, this is also an experience for us. Also we also introduced artists, like I mentioned, Cardi B came,
Yeah,
Ghana
yeah.
came last year, and I went there. It was really fun. So how are you ensuring that this, is represented?
I mean, it is for us, right? Anybody who doesn't feel that way is maybe they don't like the traffic it causes, or I don't know, the discomfort that they get when Lagos is full. We live in Lagos. We go through it. In fact, I ride my motorcycles when I see that there's everywhere is chock-a-block. I get on my bike and I move. So there's many layers to the question. It's giving me different thoughts in the response. People have to first embrace, ownership is important, and that's where we're coming from. If we don't tell our own stories, and you would agree, that's the reason why Lost in Lagos,
Yeah.
for example, exists. If we don't tell our own stories, someone else will, and when they do, they don't understand the full picture, and your story gets, skewered and twisted, and then you
Even
can't talk.
sideline
You had-
us, in
exactly,
fact.
but you had an opportunity to. You had a voice. What did you do with it?
Sure.
So we have to first own it. It's our own.
Yeah.
No problem. Now, what does it mean? This thing that we say is our own. What does it mean? How are we training people, right? How are we equipping people to be able to take advantage of that season? How are we upskilling? People are looking for work.
Yeah.
Okay, so whether it's in learning how to record or film or perform or whatever you are in the creative ecosystem, December needs to be one of those.
You look forward to.
You look forward to your Olympics.
Yeah.
As a sportsman,
Yeah.
every 4 years you train. It needs to be,
That moment.
have something. Yeah, it's ours because you get to work. If that's the busiest season in the entertainment calendar, what are you doing sitting at home, right?
Sure.
So first of all, then that layer of training and upskilling, whether it's even in film or whatever, learn, train, improve your craft, so that when those opportunities come, it's us that will first you first look at here
Yeah.
before we now look at okay, the diaspora people are coming, no problem. We're creating experiences or concerts for them. Yes, they're going to come regardless whether or not you invite them. they are from here.
Yeah.
They're coming back. A lot of them are coming back home. Let's not forget that.
Yeah,
So
true.
you are not
Actually.
more Nigerian than
Actually.
they are. Do you
Yeah.
understand? So
Actually.
you must give them chance because they have that right. Then we also have guests. It's tourism. We need tourism dollars. We do. We need that injection so that. But then, what does it mean? When the dollars still come, we're still paying taxes.
Yeah.
Where's the cut off some slack?
True.
Where's the benefit?
What is
From
the
all of
incentive?
these. Where's the incentive? So that's a government. That's their
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
question to answer. But for us, it's how can we equip our own people and still put them to work within that ecosystem so they see that the opportunities are there. That's how they can believe in that ownership conversation that it is ours because we are all part of it.
Yeah.
But when we now show that ownership, then the rest of the world will be like, these guys are onto something. Then that's where the vibe comes from. That's where the energy comes from. Be like, okay, I want to be part of this. How can I invest? How can I come and spend my money? How can I? And that's the way to
I
look at
think
it.
maybe the misconception is that there's only that time of year that we can take advantage of, and if you don't
Right.
take advantage of it, I'm so
Right.
mad, and traffic and this.
Right.
But what people don't realize is that it's not unique to Lagos.
No, it's not.
I mean, Brazil has Carnival, where once a year it gets like millions of people. New Orleans has its own
so
Carnival.
it's to get ready
Yes.
for that as it's growing bigger, and you can see with last year was E1,
Right.
for the first time,
Exactly.
it would most likely
Yeah,
happen
it is,
again this year.
actually.
So lessons were learned because it had never happened before. There were a lot of challenges.
But we what we underestimate is what it took to create Carnival when they first had it in Brazil, or what it took to have these festivals that happen in California the first time. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of issues, but it's building that ecosystem that supports tourism for the
Right.
rest of the year, that then plugs into a bigger event.
and the consistency.
And the consistency. But what we're lacking is the foundation of tourism because it's new to us. So we're trying to build layer upon layer of things.
And there's
that
no foundation,
exactly to
essentially.
support it.
Those were those challenges that it will show when you want
Yeah.
to do something on a
Too
world-class level.
inconvenient,
You
yeah.
now realize that
But then you have
we
to
don't
end
have
up
this,
doing
we
it
don't have that.
yourself.
You're going to have to,
Right.
especially if there's already commitment that this thing must
work.
happen.
Which is how I guess Lifespot 360 was born.
We're already everything. In fact, almost all the businesses that we've birthed have been as a result of challenges
that you encountered.
that we encountered. So if it's like branding and fabrication, you get to a venue, you see your brand, for
yeah,
example,
right.
this logo up here, and you need to be able to produce this here, but based on the limitation of machinery and expertise that we have here,
Right.
your logo is only going to come out to this X particular level
Quality.
of finish.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
there's no
not-
rocket,
yeah.
there's no magic
Yeah.
around. There's nothing you can do about it, just because the right gear or the requisite gear
It's
isn't
not
there.
available.
It's not what you
It's not
used.
available.
Yeah.
So you could have the gear. What if you don't have the expertise? The gear is useless. So some things have to go hand in hand. It's not going to be by mistake.
Right.
That's really the point. That's that intentionality. So if you say you want to make this ecosystem you want to make December the thing, then let's work backwards and look at that base level. What are the key things that almost everything will need?
True.
The average.
Yeah, and you're doing that,
And then
right?
you now
I
start
mean,
to pump. Yeah, I mean, we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Yes, we're doing the bit that we can, but it's going to be a collective effort.
if you look at the market 10 years ago to today,
We're
it's
not in the same
huge,
place.
Huge difference. But we also, because we need to catch up to what is expected of us, we skip a lot of steps.
Right.
So we jump over. I mean, but we
But
also
it becomes surface.
Yes.
But then the problems
Yeah.
still
Still
come back,
exist, yeah.
after the celebration. You'll be like, okay. Because, for example, Dirty December 1st was done it's not a venue that was made for.
I don't know how you did that, by the
Well,
way. I mean, you literally.
You don't even want to.
Wow. And it rained.
It rained. The rain was so bad that luckily for us, we didn't have an event that day.
Oh,
That
wow.
was the only saving grace.
Wow.
We had an event the day before, that night it rained. The next day was useless.
Oh, wow.
It tore everything, it tore branding, money that you've already used, so you have to spend again.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, to quickly, and then race against time, because the day after we had another activation, right? So, yeah.
Wow, it really does.
And
It
that's act of God.
How
You
many
can't-
times? How many times do you question, like, what am I doing?
What am I?
Oh, every day. Every day. Why am I doing what I'm doing? You know.
And then what makes you keep doing it?
Because there's many reasons. Yes, the joy, like I said earlier, the joy of that finished thing, the experience, the look on people's faces, the feedback you get, you know, the rave reviews and all those things. But you'd be like, you know, is that all? You know, but you look at the faces of, I mean, we're almost 100 people strong as
Wow.
far as you know,
Team.
regular staff, talk less of the you know, project workers and things like that, and they have to put food on the table for their families, right? So there's a reality on the ground. There's bills to pay, you know. So you gotta, you
have a
know, feed the
responsibility
machine
now,
somehow, you know. So you can't afford to get bored, you can't afford to get lazy, you can't afford to get complacent, even though you battle with that every day. You know, you wake up and like, am I really up for this? You know, but you're already in it.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. I'm not doing it because someone paid me to do it, you know. Yeah.
Your father, Art Alade, Alade, sorry,
yeah.
he was a huge
Oh,
a
he
legend
was-
in
he was
music and
an
jazz.
enigma, yeah.
And you've kind of built your career in a different way. I mean, jazz
Totally.
is not.
Although I started off with jazz.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
When did you decide like that's the path you wanted to take? At what point in growing up?
Earlier on, this is all I've ever wanted to do.
Really?
Almost.
Okay.
Because early on, okay, so my dad, yes, he was, you know, in music, also in TV. My dad had a show, like a Jay Leno,
Oh, wow.
David Letterman, yeah, he'd interview. He had people like Mary Makeba,
What?
him and Fela were close pals.
Wow.
I remember Fela coming over to the house, you know, a couple times. I know my dad gave Femi and Positive Force the basement, the club space to rehearse
Wow.
No.
when he had a fight with his father, Fela. So I'm just saying
Yeah,
some of these
yeah,
things
yeah.
based
It's okay.
on
How
you know,
close you
how
were to
yeah
it.
to them, to the scene. He would interview people, he would give people a break, you know, put them on. I remember Daddy Shoki reminding me that the first ever stage or, you know, limelight or the big opportunity he had was through my father at my father's show. And then Shoki used to do acrobatics. He wasn't even an artist then. So they would fold themselves, contortion, fold themselves into bowls, basins,
What?
those aluminum basia, that's what we call it, basia, bath, those iron
Yeah.
ones. They fold them, squeeze themselves into it, and one will be spinning, another person will
Wow.
be inside it. So crazy stuff like that, like, you know, like Cirque du Soleil type,
yeah.
you know, stuff. And this is the 80s or something,
Wow.
right? So he's done that. He was a live performer. He's emceed many people's weddings. Do you know how many people I've seen
Yeah.
at events? Or hey, your father was the
Yeah,
MC at
MC
my
at my
wedding.
wedding.
Okay, in my mind I'm
And
like,
then you
what am
just
I
like
supposed
to
to do with
remind
this
people.
information? But it's great to know. You know, thank you for telling me. Thank you for sharing. So he was many different things to many different people. But at home, me, I just knew him as dad. I was 12 when he died, but so obviously I didn't have that much, so many memories that I can remember. My older ones, maybe, you know. But he's definitely one of the reasons why I went into music. I remember getting music homework from school and asking him one or two questions. I remember, you know, we've sat at the piano before. And yeah, coming from that, his mother was a pianist as well. I had an uncle who was a choir master. So music was in the family one way or the other. Him and my mom met in a choir, like an NBC choir, broadcasts, you know, almost like an FRCN choir, something like that. So I met it at home. And then growing up, I would join a choir, I'd sing in school, I'd be in one music thing or the other, just casually, while still going to school. And where I went to primary school was at the airport, close to the airport. My mom used to work at the airport, training, or rather work for the airport. And it was a facility close to the airport where they used to train flight announcers and air hostesses,
interesting.
and linguistics and speech and, all that stuff. That's what I grew up. So broadcast on one hand and music on the
Yeah.
other hand. So inevitably, I thought I was going to be a pilot at the point, because I was close to the airport. As planes were passing, at the point I could tell what sort of engine that was. Yeah, it
Wow.
was.
Impressive.
So in my mind, as a kid, maybe I didn't really take it serious, but looking back, I'm like, maybe I would have become a pilot, because it was like almost a
In your
natural thing around me. Or
environment,
maybe
yeah.
I've been a cabin crew or something like that, because that's what I was exposed to. And then the creativity took over as I continued, different layers of education. I was just surrounded by it. If it's not music, it's broadcast. So I became a radio presenter. I was studying for a degree
Was that
in
your
music.
first kind of entry into the entertainment
First
world? or-
entry into the entertainment world, I would say, is as far back as the Jazzville days. It was a small jazz club in Onike in Yaba. And all the greats would casually come in and out, and just have drinks and jam, listen to good music. And this is where I would start to cut my teeth, in music, singing in front of live audiences,
How old
singing
were you?
covers. I was in my early teens.
Okay. Wow.
And I would go from Lagos, sometimes Ibadan, another city, and just jam with different bands. That was my first ever, at least professionally,
Yeah.
where I would collect small.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thanks
Yeah.
for blessing us with your voice. Thanks for singing a few songs. So I do that for many years. And then at the same time, I go to school, study, whether it's the university, secondary, whatever, any opportunity. Oh, they're doing one show here. They need talents. They need singers. I'm there. I audition. I'm there. My mom would even give me transport money.
Aw.
Where I take, and all that. So I had support, and I had that passion for. I was open from the get-go. But then it started getting serious over time. I joined an a cappella group. We would perform everywhere. We used to perform at Lagbaja's Motherland, all with our mouths, beatboxing, singing bass, singing different parts, and bringing it together. So I'd do that. I would work on the radio. I'd finish radio. I'd get on my bike and run to Unilag and attend my lectures. Finish that. I'm hosting another show somewhere, or doing Hype Man somewhere. So I was doing everything. And then I started getting paid, and the fame was, the babes were, I was being recognized. Oh, I'm cool, too cool for school, and that's how I graduated, continued doing the music, and one thing led to another.
What was the tipping point for you where you thought, this is it, like, now I'm big?
I don't know if I ever had that point. I kind of just eased into it. But yeah, sometimes, I don't know. I'm walking on the streets in a country that I don't live in, and I get
You get
stopped.
recognized.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get recognized. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, cool. But I take it regular. My kids look at me and
Star.
like, this guy,
Star.
like how do you feel?
Like must
Don't
be
you
nice.
get tired of this? And I'm like, I can't. That's someone I've never met, right? What if I'm in a bad mood and whatever?
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure I've seen comments online where people are like, that Darey, even I greet her, greets me.
You can't please
Or
everyone.
you can't, but I try my best to as much as possible. I never know what they're going through if I ever meet them again. So I try to be as nice as possible. Sometimes they catch you on an off day, on a bad day. It happens,
Yeah.
But I told I think it was my son that day, like, I just have to switch on, and be nice to them and give them a memorable experience. That
It's very
interaction.
brand.
Yeah, and I think that's
That's
So
part
I
of-
think-
that's part of
It
the
is.
job, right?
it comes with it. Yeah.
So I want to ask some questions, because you have a portfolio, and I mean this as an artist, not
Yeah.
even an exec
Yeah.
now. You've been doing this since your teens, so you've been in the game, and you're an authority in the music
I
industry?
don't know about authority.
I would say, I would say,
I guess more mouths.
I would honestly, I think I would say.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a question around the Nigerian music scene and the way it's evolving now. Yeah.
I know where you're going.
Where am I going?
No, I'm waiting for you. I'm with you.
Okay, so I was gonna okay. I had like a question where I was going to ask Whiskey David, but I'll leave that and ask this. So right now we're seeing a lot of evolving sounds from the north,
Yeah.
from the south. Shout out to my brother, Shadi
Yeah,
Poppy,
yeah.
Obafi, and everyone, the rest.
The south
Rema,
side,
yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
south. And I feel like the west and the east are sort of championed this for a very long time. So do you think in the Nigerian music industry scene that there's not enough representation as it contains
Our diversity.
yeah.
I mean, you have the answer to that in terms of the spread. You've
The
answered
top-
it
the
yourself
top
that
ones.
West and East have. At the point, it was West
Yeah,
a lot,
yeah.
right? And then the East came up, and nobody's going to give it to you.
True.
So you've
That's
got to
another thing.
create and be part of the conversation, So if your material pops, look at Ojiaba.
Hmm.
Last year he was popping, right? Had that that's the
Yeah.
part that went
Viral.
viral. When you start the song, you'll be like, "Where's the
Where's-
part that I
where's-
know?"
True.
But that's I digress. But the point is, if the stuff is good and works with the time, people are going to enjoy it. Your audience has never told you, "Oh no, we only like music that is Yoruba." They never said that. If it's sweet and it's enjoyable, they're going to rock it. So the East came, they took part in it. The North comes and goes, it's for everyone. Rema's come, they're
Yeah.
there. Your Duncan Mighty, there's no monopoly, within the thing. It's about consistency, and where you're from and the language you use is up to you. Lahore. It's up to, you can. It's a vibe. If
Yeah.
a vibe, if it feels nice, people will gravitate towards it. So I don't see, where it's coming from as part of. It's just good music. If your music is sweet as an artist, if you're creating good,
So I feel like Afrobeats is a label that we've been given, or maybe we put on ourselves.
I don't even
know.
think we know. I think they gave it to us. It was a naming ceremony we didn't attend. We were not there.
But how did all that happen? Like, how are we put into this category?
I don't know. First off, you know that Afrobeats with the S and without the S are two different things
What?
completely.
Wow.
Totally different.
Really?
Afrobeat without the S is the genre that there's arguments and there's debates about it, the origin. Yes, they say it's Fela
Without the S.
without the S.
Okay.
They say it's
Afrobeat.
Fela. Orlando Julius is also in that conversation, but that's a different conversation. Let's say Fela, is the progenitor. Made it famous, combined funk,
Yeah.
with African beats, and created big band brass.
Right.
Created something that's Afrobeat and added struggle to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so consciousness. Talk about the government, talk about the plight of the
Made
people.
it political. Yeah.
And social conscious.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
All of that in a big pot of stew is what Afrobeat became, and it has
known
not.
as-
There's no evolution for Afrobeat because it died with.
Oh.
Okay, so Afrobeat is the Kutis.
Yeah.
It's what Femi makes. It's what Sheon
Yeah.
makes. It's what Made makes. It's
Yeah.
is the
That's
is
their
the is the-
category.
Yeah.
that's there is that's yeah. If you want to borrow that style, and of course you can. You can be motivated. You can be inspired by.
But that's not what
know.
the world knows.
That's not what we're doing. Some songs can borrow the double kick, the groove, the call and response style of Afrobeat into their pop song. That's fine. It doesn't make it an Afrobeat song. Okay, it's ideas. It's It's influence. Okay. Then there's Afrobeats. Is the name that they called us that I said that we were not informed. We attend. We you do naming ceremony. They didn't tell you. You were not aware. All right. This was as a result of the blanket, naming that. I don't know. It seems like the West needed to give us a label for music that was coming from Africa. Maybe mainly Nigeria, South Africa, whatever. But it was coming from Africa. And that label came from people who were the ones sort of responsible for pushing African music to the world through the UK. Okay? Prior to that time, what we used to call our music was, I'll digress quickly. In the 90s, I think, the early 90s, Nigeria was the biggest consumer of reggae music.
Interesting.
So you see that a lot of our music from then was very reggae and dancehall style.
Yeah, that's true.
So if it's Daddy Shoki, or it's Baba Frayo, or Danfo Drivers, or everything was coming from that
Influence.
that dancehall reggae vibe. That was the influence, okay? But before this Afro beats, what we're doing was Afro R&B, Afro pop, Afro hip hop, Remedies, Plantation Boys. That wasn't Afro beats. So again, it's our storytelling. It's what we have refused to be able to call ourselves and say, this is what we're doing, or this is who we are, and then project that to the world. That's what has caused, this forced naming
labeling.
ceremony that we didn't attend. So now, is it that everything we make, no matter how fast or slow or genre bending it is, it's all
under
Afrobeats. It's now an identity. It's not about the music, it's about where it's coming from.
And it's up to us to change that narrative.
Yeah. But do we even want
I don't think the creatives even produce
They
now,
don't.
where most of them.
they don't. They're just going with what's
With the
working.
flow.
So if and that's the trap that we're in now, where if this is termed as the style that is commercial, everyone's going to do that. So
Because
you're not
that's
going
what
to encourage.
sells.
That's
You're
I
not
think it
gonna
shows
encourage
what they are
diversity.
interested in. It shows.
But there is an opportunity to kind of expand that category, but it's up to the Nigerian musicians
It's up to us.
and artists and everyone in that industry to really educate
It's up
the
to us.
world about what Nigerian music means and what does it represent and the many, many different facets of it.
And the global platforms don't care much, because you're not going to come from nowhere and scatter their status quo, unless you're bringing value, unless you're bringing money. And they're not going to see that money until they come here and figure out what we
How
haven't
to make
figured out.
of it, yeah.
And then, so they will never give us more than the fraction they feel we deserve.
Right.
It doesn't belong to us. So it's time for us to build ours and tell our own stories, then give them a small fraction.
True.
Well, we have
So that
we have
it's
now,
balanced. So that it's balanced.
Yeah, we have this Dirty December platform where everyone's watching. It's our opportunity to really send out the right messaging
message,
during
yeah.
that period too.
So what's the storytelling? Who are we?
Exactly.
In this point, what do we want you to? Is it just drinks and parties? It's gonna be beyond that.
Exactly.
And make it make sense for anyone who wants to come here, enjoy Lagos, enjoy Nigeria, enjoy the culture, the rich history, the tapestry of all sorts of, whether it's music, film, arts, fashion, the list is endless of what we are about. But
Yeah. No, I mean, and you're doing your part.
I'm trying.
And speaking
Myself
of,
and the team,
Yeah, speaking of, what do you want to leave as your legacy? I mean, we spoke about your father's, and you do a lot together with your wife and your entire team. You guys do an incredible job with everything you built between, the festivals, the entertainment week, Live Spot 360. What do you want to leave as your legacy?
Whew. This question.
It's a loaded
It's a
question.
loaded question, actually.
When I hear this question, I start seeing epitaph. Here lies. I'm like, okay, it's not quite time yet, but
Yeah, but this is your
I mean,
opportunity
it's looking back, to actually start,
set it.
I mean, first off, there's still a lot ahead for us at Live Sports.
course.
Always looking at renewing and being fresh, you know. So there's a new layer, a new live spot that you're gonna, you know, see very soon. I won't say too
Love
much
that.
about that.
Love
So
that.
that's that.
Yeah.
But the passion, the dedication to uplifting the creative ecosystem, regardless of the challenges that we faced. Love for Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something it's a constant, and the love for music. Music has been so generous to me. It's taken me to all sorts of places in the world. I met all sorts of people, and I think it's what has given birth to everything else, you know. So I say thank you, music.
Beautiful. And you still have a lot of legacy to build.
Yeah.
So yes, and you're doing really, really incredible work, especially for futures, paving the path for the future artists to come, for the infrastructure that you're building around the entertainment and bringing
defining tastes
exactly.
across the industry.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You are a literal rock star. So coming from you, that means a lot. Exactly. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Darey.